What's up, everybody? Glad you guys are here. Welcome to Seeker of the Unknown. Uh, Hold on. Um, Thank you guys for being here. Glad you guys are here. I know it's been a minute. Been about a couple of weeks. Just been dealing with some stuff, taking care of some things lined up. Also, just trying to take a break. Just been resting. Beginning of this school year has been pretty long, but it's been good. Really, really good. Glad and excited to be on spring break, and be able to get some time to, get some stuff done, taken care of. But anyway, welcome back. This episode, we're going to be talking a little bit about John Jacob Astor, his book, A Journey to Other Worlds, and the link of kind of a bigger picture of what I had discussed about or had discussed in the first I believe I did on the podcast, was just in general the knowledge or the information that John Jacob Astor, just going down going down this rabbit hole of holy shit, like this is cool. This is conspiracy stuff, and I hate using that word. If you guys don't know, or this is your first time coming along and watching the podcast, I hate the notion of conspiracy theories, or just looking into that and knowing where it comes from during Vietnam, and the CIA, using it to make it look like people are crazy, or people are just, oh, you're coming up with some nonsense, man. You're coming up with these conspiracy theories, and just pretty much to discredit people that were coming out with information and bringing forth or coming up against the government because of the Vietnam War and stuff. So that's why I hate using it, because as you already know, and that's why I don't ever really use it. But the information, looking down this rabbit hole of John Jacob Astor, and another thing is he was one of the passengers on Titanic when it sank, and looking into the theories on that and why that ship or a ship was sunk that day with these passengers that happened to be on it, happened to be on this same ship, and happened to have come against these prominent figures that were trying to get them on board with the notion of a central banking. And they said, no, we do not want to have any part of this. We do not want to give people over to being enslaved by the countries, their governments, just to be power and make money. They wanted to better make humankind better. And here you have a Titanic. John Jacob Astor, at his time of life and prominence, was one of the, if not the richest man at that time. I'm going to get some information up on here. Give me a second. Let me see. All right. John Jacob Astor. Hold on. Here we go. I don't want to give out any numbers about what his wealth was. I want to make sure that I'm giving these numbers out correctly. But it was in the billions. He was a billionaire. Here we go. All right. Yes, it was. His net worth at that time, okay, was 87 million, which is equivalent to 2.83 billion today when he died. So yeah, he was a billionaire. He was the youngest of 5 children. And let's see. Let me share this. Let me share this with you guys, because this, like I said, this blew me when I started researching or looking into this. It's cool. All right. Should be able to see it. Yeah, the equivalent of $2.8 billion. His family had made prominence. I remember that they were into beaver fur trading back when the country started. And his great-grandfather and grandfather were very wealthy men. And they had built a good fortune here. It says, among Astor's accomplishments, this is how I got into it, because I had watched another podcaster who lives in Europe put this information out on his book, which he, looked into, and he thought it was very captivating, and this just blew me away, because the stuff that's in the book is what really caught his attention. It was a lot of these things about future space travel, or travel of the future, and what types of engines and what types of rockets that they were going to be using to power themselves, and going to Mars and different planets, and these creatures, or these aliens that are on these planets. And he's talking about freeways. He's talking about electronic devices that are, allowing people to talk across oceans on the other side of other sides of continents, and these long distances without wires. And he's talking about radio watches, like where people are looking at their screen and they're talking to these people like they're on a phone. Road improvers. He's talking about, producing gas from peat moss. And it's like, and I mean, this book came out in 1898. And we're talking about before there was even any thought of what these things would be. Yes, they blew it off as science fiction. When you read the book, that's what it goes into. This is it right here. And I've looked in, it just will blow you away. It caught my attention. I just was captivated by it because it's going in depth to things. And says that in the of his accomplishments, he was also patented several inventions, including a bicycle brake in 1898, a vibratory disintegrator used to produce gas from peat moss, a pneumatic road improver, and he helped develop a turbine engine. And this is 1898. In 1897, okay, he built the Astor Hotel, the world's most luxurious hotel at its time in New York City, compared to like the Waldorf Hostel. I'm looking at the Waldorf Hotel, which was owned by Astor's cousin and rival William. It soon became known as the Waldorf Astoria Hotel, and the Waldorf Astoria would be later be the host location to the U.S. inquiries into the sinking of the RMS Titanic. Like I said, it just started getting deep into this stuff. When from him dying on the ship, they inquired, into all this stuff. 1894 to 1896, he was a colonel in the military staff of the New York governor, Levi P. Morton, shortly after the outbreak of the Spanish-American War. So he was a veteran of the Spanish-American War, and he was a colonel. So the man had military bearing. He had military know-how. He was very accomplished in mathematics. He was a very good, knowledgeable person on science. He studied, and actually it even says that he was a member of the Freemasons, and I believe 33-degree Mason, which means that he was able to have knowledgeable information on in that society. And like I said, when you read this book or you look into this book, because you can go online or you can go on YouTube, they actually have somebody that reads it if you're into that and you want to hear somebody read it to you so you can just relax and listen to it. Or you can go online and they do have a online version that you can go on and read. But it is something that I would think that anybody who is fascinated by these things or fascinated by the thought of this stuff, please look. It's really good. It's really, really good. Looking into, he was 47 when he got married. So I think the lady that was on the Titanic, Catherine, right? The famous lady that was on there. What was her name? Is it Kathy Bates that plays her? Yeah, I think that's what her name is. His wife was the cousin, or the sister of her. So he was the way around. And it seems that him being a prominent figure in society with these oligarchs who were trying to get him to along with this idea of these central banking authorities and um, suppressing knowledge and information from people that was supposed to benefit humankind, they pretty much told him, this is going to break you, the whole ordeal, you guys are going to, you're going to end up regretting this type of thing. I'm looking to see where else it was saying, but it makes sense. It makes sense because you see this time and time again throughout history of these people or these prominent figures, and even now you see people that are standing up or about to say, putting information out there, and they are getting sorry, I got people asking me if I'm still doing the podcast and stuff, so I'm like, yeah. It really makes it like, how long has this shit been going on? How long have they been doing this? I mean, if you're not willing to go along with the story, or if you're putting information out there like he was in this book as a fiction novel, what was he trying to tell us? What was he putting in the book that was trying to tell us that maybe this knowledge of this technology and the information isn't old? Maybe it was something that they were putting out to make us aware of what was happening already. And as I said when I put in some of my posts online, is that nothing that we see is new. Nothing that we see isn't anything that has not been done or has already been around. I mean, you're looking at Egyptian petroglyphs or hieroglyphs, and it's showing these Egyptians working electricity through bulbs. They found batteries in Iraq, in the desert, in some of these temples. Batteries. So if they had batteries, that what? Fucking electricity. That blew me away. That's why I'm saying, like, it makes you think, like, what the fuck was really going on back then? What was really happening? Because we're sitting here thinking, oh, Thomas Edison, the creator of electricity, has made all this stuff happen, and he's made it so possible because he's found electricity. And then they shut up Nikola Tesla for everything that he was doing to benefit humanity and tell them this shit's around us everywhere. Electricity is in the atoms, in the atmosphere. It's in the ground. You just got to know how to harness it and take it out. The great genius of that man, and that I love Nikola Tesla because it showed another genius, another man of prominence who had knowledge of these things that people say he should not have never even known, but he was bringing it out and trying to show people, and they screwed the poor guy over. Made him regret not doing what they wanted him to do. If you don't get on board, we're going to shut you down. Yeah, look at, I'm going off on a big old, the reason why I'm putting all this out is because this man, John Jacob Astor IV, in his book, A Journey to Other Worlds, okay, Um, as I said right here, Journey to the Other Worlds. Let me show you what he's putting out here. It says the future United States is a superpower. European nations have been taken over by socialist governments, which have sold most of their African colonies to the US, while Canada, Mexico, and countries of South America have requested annexation. Space travel is achieved through apergy, an anti-gravitational energy force. He even goes into talk about planets. Jupiter proved to be a jungle world with flesh-eating plants. This is weird because if you look into other things like documentation of these secret space programs, if you watch Gaia and you get on and you take a look up secret space programs on Gaia. If you haven't looked at Gaia, highly recommend that you jump on it, take a look, get educated, get brought up to speed on everything that we talk about. And I'm just saying, not just myself, but other theorists who are out and trying to get information. Out to the public, so that way we can get people on the same vibration, on the same level that we are trying to get this knowledge and this information on all this stuff, because it's not making sense. It doesn't make sense to the fact of this. You see throughout history a lot of things that have happened at the apex of a certain civilization. You have wars, you have leaders who sweep through nations and murder vast. Genghis Khan wiped out a third of the world's population or something like that. The man literally fucking killed everybody. Everything. I think he even killed their damn dogs and their birds, their pets. So this guy's going around through the earth and sweeping through and just decimating everything. God knows what he's destroyed and gotten rid of, because you know that what happens is the victors always remove anything that has to do with any civilization or any culture anywhere, because they don't even want to mate with them outside of their own culture, so that way their bloodline would just die off, or they would take people as slaves. So you're looking at decimations of generations of cultures, of civilizations that are just being annihilated and wiped out, that we will never have any more information about or any knowledge of. But I'm pretty sure there's things that we've seen or that they've uncovered that they're trying to explain it within the realm of their scope of knowledge. Like them saying that Neanderthals were the first species here on Earth, but now we're starting to see skulls that are not like Neanderthal skulls. And they're thousands of years past what we already knew of human civilization. Homo sapiens, Homo erectus, whatever. Lucy. So the whole thing, like I said, this rabbit hole that you get into of looking at things, like when this comes up, John Jacob Astor, his book, A Journey into Other Worlds, and him talking about this future stuff, other planets. He talks about on the planet of Saturn, in contrast, as an ancient world of silent spirits. These beings provide the explorers with foresight of their own deaths. One of the spirits, a deceased bishop, tells the voyagers about the icy world Cassandra, which orbits the sun beyond Neptune and is home to the souls of the unworthy earthlings. What the freak? How crazy is that? And that's really all it gives you off of Wikipedia. But if you go in Google, It'll come up with this. There's videos. Let's see. I'm just trying to bring something up real quick so that way I can like this website here is showing me it just gives me a background of the book, but so I didn't see this, but it says here, the ability to travel through space is made possible by apergy. Like I said, it showed on Wikipedia. But that's what's coming out of the book. An anti-gravitational energy force first described by Pierce Gregg in his 1880 book, Across the Zodiac. So here you have another man, Percy Craig, who a few years before he came out with this book, wrote a book called Across the Zodiac. And in this book, it seems like it's about the same thing as what John Jacob Astor is describing. So if John Jacob Astor got his theory or his information from Percy Craig, did Percy Craig have knowledge of something that was possibly happening at that time? It also says in 1895, Astor would make a substantial investment in the company of John Keeley, who claimed to have invented an etheric power similar in many ways to an apergy. So now you have a businessman whose name is John Keeley, who is building, or is a scientist or a business owner, who is working on different fields of energy as power sources. Who the fuck is he doing this for? Who's giving him this money? Who's funding him? This has got to be something that was known by people who were wealthy, who had money, who knew, okay, shit, we're getting into stuff. We need to keep this to ourselves, keep it as hush-hush as possible. And did they end up finding something that has allowed them to travel through the stars, through outer space, in what is known as a apergy power generating field of electricity, of power? Could this be the very thing that was given up in the whistleblower who came out of Area 51? Bob Lazar. I'm sorry. I'm like brain dead. So if Bob Lazar was talking about the power element that powers the UFOs, element 53, I think it is, right? Something like that, element 53. Could this element 53 actually be the apergy power generator, anti-gravitational energy force? Could that be it? I don't know. I'm just saying. It wouldn't be a stretch to say that these two have a correlation. And now we know that this energy source is, because now if you look at a new element chart, it's called element 115. It's called Moscovium, named after the ancient Russian land of Moscovia. Wow. Element 115 was discovered or released by Bob Lazar when he whistle blew on the Area 51 projects going into the reverse engineering of unidentified flying objects, UAVs. Or REVs, reverse engineered vehicles. Bob Lazar talks about, the power source that he was working with, because he was working on trying to figure out the core, the reactor. He describes how it worked. He took the element out. The reactor shut down as soon as he put it in there. It powered back on. He talked about the ways of the propulsion of the vehicle, and how the there's 3 singular propulsion devices on the bottom of it that you pointed it in the direction of where you wanted to go, and the force field, it would just pull it through. Gravitational field, anti-gravity. And that, like I said, it's a rabbit hole that if you go down, you're going, man, what is really going on? That when you look at one thing, you get more stuff, and then it just starts coming forth in these big pictures that leads from one thing to another. So jumping back to John Jacob Astor, I was looking up the theory that was happening with him. And like I said, it first came to fruition when I saw that man's when he was looking into the book, and he was talking about John Jacob Astor dying on the Titanic, and the reason that he was killed on the Titanic was because he did not want to join the oligarchs and get on board with what they were doing. And that led into another theory of the Titanic, which was sunk, which wasn't actually the Titanic. It was a separate ship that looked just like her. And the ship was not actually breached by an iceberg. It was hit by a torpedo, which, if you think about it, the whole thing again, and as I said, I'm ranting and raving because I'm going down these rabbit holes, and like I said, it goes from one thing to another, is that the Titanic being sunk by a torpedo would make much more sense. And when you look at the ship and how it got damaged with the hole on the side where the iceberg supposedly hit it, it would make more sense that a torpedo ripped through steel than an iceberg. And I know icebergs are dangerous, and it would make more sense that the ship's captain would yell for them to have full steam into a fucking ice field, an iceberg field. Was it just him pushing forward to get them so that way they could be on time and on target to be able to get hit when they were supposed to? I don't know. All I'm saying is it's a lot of stuff. And knowing that all this stuff could be possible, and the evidence that is going from looking at the John Jacob Astor connection, the oligarchs, the people who own the White Star Line. I mean, that's what I mean, is like, this shit, they had a lot to gain from this. It's just like a 9/11 thing all over again. start something that you would not otherwise be able to pull off, and you would not be able to just get it done just by going and buying, or it would cost more money for you to push out to get something to happen with the White Star Line that you were wanting to do, like sell off your stock or sell out the company because you weren't going to have money enough to bring it back. So what they did is they said, fuck it, we're just going to do what we got to do, get these people on board. Okay, yeah, we're going to sink the fucking ship, and you're going to make out like a fat rat, all while sacrificing all of these people, which sucks because you think about it. If they really, these people will do anything to get what they want, to make something happen. And as I said before, it goes back into the whole thing. They've been doing it for so long. All these cultures, wiping and erasing out information. World War II, look at World War II. Think of all the Tartarian information. Was the World War a way to annihilate any remnants of the old world? And things like John Jacob Astor's book, Journey into Other Worlds, and like the other author that I just mentioned, leaving these books behind as references, and they're being put out as fictional. Could these things be a way of them trying to help future societies or make them aware of what was already being done? That's all I'm saying. That's what it seems like, because like I said, you see this throughout history. We are finding out that these people had resources of things that they should not have had, but yet the evidence is there. It's right in our face. Was there a global society? We see it in the pyramids. We see it in Teotihuacan down in Mexico. We see it in South America, in Machu Picchu. We see it in Europe and certain parts in the United States of structures, of landmarks, of power grids that intersect throughout the world. This energy source that Nikola Tesla was so much trying to get the information out there. And I believe in one of his passages where he's describing the electricity field, he is saying that this stuff has been something that our ancestors of the past were harnessing and tapping into. They knew about this thousands of years ago, and they were tapping into it and harnessing this energy, making weapons, making power grids. The thing that really gets intriguing is, if this was around, how was, or what came upon the face of the earth to cause the destruction? I know that in the ancient Sumerian text it talks about Enki and Enlil, and then the brothers fighting and arguing over human, society. Oh, they're becoming too advanced. They're progressing too rapidly. We need to wipe them out. Could that have been the destruction of them at that time? It seems like it is, because throughout different cultures, you start finding that Enki and Enlil are seen as deities that are replicated in cultures that are not together. South America, Mexico, North America, Asia, Africa, Europe, Russia. You're seeing these deities that are being worshipped and being idolized, that they ask them, where did you come from? Or they see them and they're coming from across. And we know that in the Emerald Tablets of Thoth, who is in Enlil, or Enki. Yes. And is passing this knowledge of humanity of these technologically advanced ideas and this knowledge that he's giving to them and teaching them how to do these, teaching them how to farm, teaching them how to work the land, teaching them how to build these machines or these power grids to harness the energy at the point where it is being manipulated by the Earth's force field. And it's just, like I said, it is something that has intrigued a lot of us theorists into looking into, because the notion that what we are seeing or what we are experiencing in life and society and in culture, and you're seeing the evidence that is not adding up, that maybe we are not seeing something that is old. We are seeing some or new. We are seeing something that is far more older than what we are giving history credit for, because it has been hidden, it's been distorted, it's been manipulated, it's been twisted to keep people in the dark and keep the knowledge and the information about who we are and where we come from out of sight. And I know at the beginning of that episode, I led into the ancient cities of Tartaria, the information, the knowledge, and a lot of the rabbit hole that came out of that. And looking at the CIA documents about Tartaria, when we in fact knew that people knew it was real. You don't see things that you see from back then that they were building now. Everything is not the same. We can't even do sculptures with marble by hand the same way that they were doing back then, with such precise detail that it has to be replicated with machines today. That is how freaking precise they were at their artistry. But if you're telling me that the advancement of a past civilization was far more advanced than what we believe we are in the 21st century, going into 2025 or 26, I'm sorry, 27, 28, 29, 30, good Lord, it's already going to be here. And you're telling us that as far technologically advanced that we are now, that we are not able to do this at all, precise to the way that they are doing it, but yet we're supposed to be above the rest right now, right? Does that make any sense at all? I mean, good Lord, we've all seen the videos of them trying to replicate them moving the pyramid stones around with these gigantic excavators, and they can't do it. How in the hell you're going to tell me that all these people hold this stone all the way up the pyramids? Come on, man. Come on. And I get it. There's people that have been like, oh, well, look at this guy. He's got this big old, ton stone in his yard, and he's moving it with wood to get it in place to wherever he was going to get it. Granted, I get that. How the fuck did they pick it up? Did they build platforms so freaking huge around the edges of the pyramid to get it to go all the way up there so they could turn it all the way up to the fucking the top of the pyramid? No way. You couldn't get that many people on that stone in a little bitty spot right there. And then it shows that the pyramids and the Sphinx are a lot older than what we thought, because you're seeing the water erosion around the top of the pyramid where the old marble stones that were right there, the covering over the pyramids, is being washed out. It's gone. But it looks like it was at a water level, that it was being eroded away. I mean, I don't know. Like I said, when you start looking at stuff and you start seeing it, it starts going into question other things that it's leading into. And I mean, for me, it's intriguing. It's cool because you start looking and researching and going and getting books and trying to figure out. Trying to make sure. Where is it? All right. Let me see. I'm going to try and look it up right now. But anyway, like I said, you guys let me know what you guys think. Right now, I think I am able. That's what I was going to do too. I'm on my page on Seeker of the Unknown. I'm actually going to take my projection off of the my homepage, and if you want, go to Seeker of the Unknown, and the podcast will finish up there. Let me see. Okay, no. No. All right, cool. Got it. All right, so we are seeing all of this happen. And the evidence of this ancient world. And as I said, it was something that people have been looking into as you look into these structures in the Tartarian Empire. And one of the famous ones that you see is these world's fairs that are around the world. Cisco. And you see these grand, beautiful structures. I mean, let me see if I can. I'll go back. Let me see. Images. I mean, let me see. Let me share it. I mean, look at this. Look at how beautiful that is. And you're going to tell me there that it was just temporary. It was something that they built just for the fair, and they tore it all down. Let me get on my page real quick, and then I'll just start. Elko Ellie, thank you for watching. I appreciate you. She's like, "Oh, thanks for reminding me." Right on. All right, let me mute that. All right. So we're looking at pictures of the World's Fair and the evidence of this 1915 San Francisco. And you're trying to tell me that these structures are not permanent. Because when they show them tearing them down, it's stone. I mean, the electricity, the power that would be needed to generate that is astounding. But before we get into this, I just want to do something right now. And get to it, and let's do let's start the show right. We got to do this right. So I'm going to go ahead and play the intro. You guys hang out. I'll be All right, cool. So, as I said, you're looking at these pictures. I know you're thinking the same thing I was thinking. How in the hell is this just something that's temporary? So I started looking into it. And here you go. Here's another one. Just think about this. Look at these buildings, beautiful structures. And you have wars that just come through and decimate and ravage, destroy, annihilate everything that is remnants of the old world. Obviously, they weren't able to destroy everything, and you still see a lot of buildings. I mean, for Christ's sake, look at Notre Dame. Notre Dame. Just think of all the information that was destroyed when that burned. And there are still even theories that the Tartarian Empire had reached all the way to the United States, that the things that we were finding or that were here were actually already here. And it is really baffling because it makes you think, okay, the vastness of the architecture in these cities, San Francisco, Los Angeles area. Well, not Los Angeles because San Francisco popped up before them, but these cities that you see, Chicago, New York, and even down south in Georgia. And it makes you think, if this stuff was really around and it was here, who built it? Where did they get the knowledge and this information from? Hey, Ivan, how's it going, man? From Ireland, man. Cool stuff. I was in Ireland in 2005 when I made my first deployment. We had a 3-day layover, and we got to hang out there for a little bit. It was pretty cool. Some Irish guys were really hospitable, cool dudes. So here's to you, man. Thank you for joining me, and thank you for checking out the podcast. Appreciate it. And we're getting into the discussion of John Jacob Astor, his connection to ancient Tartaria, his ideas and knowledge and understanding. Yeah, I'm in Winnemucca, Nevada. And his understanding and knowledge of this, and the information that came out in his book, A Journey to the Other Worlds. Obviously, some of the information that he got was previously published in another book. And we know that John Jacob Astor actually invested in a business where this person was building jet engines. And this is the late 1800s. And the physics of what the power source that would generate these ships for space travel, and the connection between that and what we are seeing that Bob Lazar was talking about with element 115 was a power source for these UFOs that were captured, downed, that they were reverse engineering at Area 51. And Bob Lazar gave specific detailings of his job entailment there. And he states that this element 115 was a power source that had such immense power to it that it would power a city for thousands. And here we are, 1880s, and we have this man, John Jacob Astor, who is talking about things in his book that he published of a power source that would be strong enough to generate anti-gravity propulsion. And jumping back into what I was saying, a recap is that if these civilizations had this technologically advanced knowledge, this technical know-how, and the Egyptians had power sources, and in Iraq you're seeing these batteries that are found, all these technologically advanced civilizations that have been just disregarded, hidden from us, and we have not yet gotten the true answers, except for what people have been uncovering through archaeology and finding in lost or manuscripts that have been hidden to time. And even as I said, looking into the declassified cementations that talk about ancient Tartaria and the advanced civilizations were actually real. They were wiped. The history books, it got rid of it because World War II was like a way of just, as I stated, like Genghis Khan, going through and sweeping through and getting rid of all this information. Once you can wipe out all these people, their information and everything about them is not able to be passed on. So they're forgotten. Bye. Gone. No more. This was a way for them in World War I, World War II. They couldn't get the job done. These people that were in higher powers, the King of Germany, these nobilities throughout the world at the time, like I said, World War I, World War II, there was something that was happening that was not, they weren't jiving with each other. So they went to war. Somebody or some, like we see now, faction which was trying to get these powerful people at play to say, okay, well, we need to fucking make some money off of this. We need to turn these people into slaves. We need to start taking control. we have the ability to make these people pay for things that are free. We should be getting money off of this. We can enslave these people and indoctrinate them, take away their schooling, take away their education, of free education, of being able to just go to the library or being able to get information and knowledge, true knowledge from the sources, and being able to sustain ourselves buying our own food or having farms or being able to sustain communities within themselves by being self-sustainable by these means. You don't see it anymore. It's gone. And it hasn't been that long. What have we seen that has shifted that? We've seen these central banking, these oligarchs, these rich families who have had their hands in everything. And that's what I'm saying, is that the last remnants of this vast empire of Tartaria, which John Jacob Astor was a part of, Nikola Tesla was a part of, and was trying to help us understand and see what was going on. You see that it was just switched, changed, depleted, eradicated. Evidence was hidden from public and for later generations. And now we're starting to shift that mindset of just taking what we know for face value and doing more research and more information digging about these subjects, these subjects and this subject, and trying to, and it's amazing because, as I said, you have people, they're interested in this. They want to know too. Things just never. And yet, it does go back to that whole 1960s thing where you have the phrase conspiracy theorist being coined and thrown at everybody. Oh, you're fucking nuts. You go to family dinners and people don't want to hear it. You can't go to functions, or you can't even be at work, or you can't do things because if you share things with people, then you're fucking crazy. You know? And it's like, we now have had a score, I think we're batting 36-0 or something right now, 36 or 38-0, with everything that we've come up with saying that it was a setup. We've been lied to. So what if there is truth to all this stuff that we are seeing, that we are looking into, that we are digging into and revealing and bringing it out and having people question this stuff? What if there is truth to it? I believe that there is. I believe that there's relevance to saying that we have not seen anything that has not been done before. Okay? I mean, you know, for Christ's sake. Are we seeing remnants of a past civilization, past knowledgeable, technologically advanced civilization that was driven somewhere else and is trying to tell us, communicate with us, trying to show us, trying to reveal what the ancients were doing or what was happening at the time, and trying to establish some sort of I guess you could say an awakening, because you look at World War II. What happened? They sent the largest fleet, okay, to Antarctica, because this whole thing goes back to, again, of Antarctica. What is so important that everything that is happening in Antarctica right now, or has happened since the treaty was signed in the what was it, the 60s, with the world nations? What the hell is so important down there that you have to hide it and militarily defend it? Okay, you can't go past, what is it, the 80th parallel, Once you start getting close to Antarctica, warships come at you and tell you have to turn around. They even have jet fighters that come through. What the hell is going on that is so important that you have to hide it from the general public? And there's the ideas, or there's been incidences, like I said, World War II. They sent the largest fleet ever assumed in the world, ever combined joint forces in the world, to Antarctica to battle the Nazis at the time with Admiral Byrd. And the descriptions that were given by the soldiers, by Admiral Byrd, was that they had flying vehicles that were decimating the warships, that they had to turn around, that they couldn't fight them off. They were getting their butts handed to them. There's such a this, it's a speculation, but it's the leading up of what the Third Reich was doing at the time. Did they have knowledge of this stuff? They had the program of Duglaka, the bell-shaped anti-gravitational aircraft that they had engineered, that it says that they were given this knowledge by these Palladians through their psychic medium, who was giving her this information, and she was giving it back to them and telling them about all this stuff. And if you guys do this, or, you know, an alliance between them. Don't take my word for it. Look it up for yourself. The documentation is there. The research has been done. And it all makes sense. It fits together. So if we have had the advancement of space travel since World War II, and a lot of whistleblowers who are working with the government, if you go on Gaia and you look it up, I love that show because the whistleblowers that come out of there and the credibility that they have, and they're coming out with Dr. Stephen Greer for heading that operation for disclosure, and all the videos that he's coming out with, or he has come out with, and the information that he has put out to the public, has led to why we have had congressional hearings. And hopefully we will be given more information and more insight into what has been hidden from us and how far back the information that has been kept from us is going, which would be amazing. But yeah, I mean, you have this thing with Antarctica. I mean, you know, the moon, for God's sake. You know, time travel. The whole thing between Nikola Tesla having said and written down in paperwork that he has that time travel has been achieved. He has experienced it. He gave a detailed entry in one of his diaries or his work notes saying that I have seen the past and I've seen the future. And when he passed away in his hotel room, guess who's the one who went or got the information that was inside of his safe? John G. Trump is Donald Trump's uncle, who worked for the FBI at the time, for the government. He was a graduate and member of the National Academy of Engineering, National Medal of Science. He developed radiation therapy. And he was given the notes to all of Nikola Tesla's information, including what they now know was a time machine. And this would make sense because now you're seeing this book of 1900, or The Last President, where in this book it talks about a man who lived in New York, where Trump Tower is the address where he lives, who says, I'm going to do something great and I'm going to help this country out because I love it so much. I'm going for president. All his high-powered office friends were like laughing at him, told him he would never make it. Don't do it. You're wasting your life and your career. You're going to be shunned. You're throwing it all away. And what happens? The man in the book, whose name is Don, the Don, wins the presidency. Wouldn't you know it? And is called the last president. Why? Because of the great things that he has done for this country. Weird stuff. Like I said, don't just take my word for it. Look it up for yourself. And then you have the other set of books that come out of Barron Trump's marvelous underground adventures of a young boy who is raised in a part of Russia where his mother is from. I think it Slovakia? And is given this high level of education, and he's brought up to be this very knowledgeable, very scientific, very well-known young man. That time travels. And he's raised by this man whose name is, what was it, the Don? Or it was a different name that they call Trump? But I think it's the Don. And it's like, these books were written in the late 1800s, just like John Jacob Astor's book was written in the late 1800s, 1890s, 1880s. Is this too much of a coincidence to see what we are seeing now? Knowing what we know, the connection is possibly linking or moving to, because like I said, Trump's uncle, working for the government, an engineer, science engineer, got his hands on Nikola Tesla's work. Free energy, electrical fields, power sources, time travel. All of this stuff he had. Now Donald Trump's uncle has it. These books written about this man, about his family, and here we are, 2025. Could this man know more than what he is letting on? I mean, who the fuck gets shot at, okay, gets back up and says, yeah, I'm going to keep doing this. I'm going to keep going for president. Fuck him. That was nothing. Let me tell you, you get your ass shot at, you're going to be thinking in your head, holy shit. This man has put a middle finger up to the world. I think he knows something more than what he's letting on. Whatever's going on, all I'm saying is the connection to this ancient knowledge and this ancient technology. I think this man knows more than what he's letting on. And a lot of whistleblowers have said, yes, that is true. Could we be seeing, as he said, the shift into this new golden age of humanity? Could there be things that he is going to release or bring us into progressing forward with these heads of states and these people like Tesla's owner, and releasing, becoming a open source for us to receive this knowledge and information of what we were being stripped of, what we were being lied about, what we were being deceived from. Could this be what we're about to see, what we're going to witness? If it is, this is going to be, like he said, the golden age of humanity. Shifting away from the power base that was holding everybody down, that was wiping and eradicating everything that we knew about past worlds, past civilizations, the truth about what has and what was here, what was going on, the declassification of information being given to the public to ready us for what is about to happen, the golden age of humanity. This is going to be so interesting to see what shifts and what unfolds, because if in fact this is what we are about to witness, what is going to be affected? Will people be able to take this new information? But let me know. What are your thoughts? What are you thinking? What are your guys' thoughts? What could be something that makes you think from the past that you look at and you go, that just does not seem right? And as I said, for me, when I look at things like art, things in museums, such as the works of Leonardo da Vinci, Michelangelo, Donatello, Machiavelli, Marcus Aurelius, Plato, Socrates, all these great minds of the past and ancient cultures and ancient civilizations that had this knowledge and information of things that we can only fathom of. Were they just stone and chisel people? Or did they have things that were more knowledgeable, more technologically advanced than what we are seeing today, because we are just being kept at a surface of having to take what is given to us, accept what we are doing, because we have to depend on these people to get our energy, to get our food, to get our water. Things like that. And it makes you think a lot about what is really going on, what has been stripped away from humankind since these people took over, or these people decided to strip us of what was inherently ours for so long. Yeah, that'll make you think. So yeah, let me know in the comments what you guys think. What are your thoughts? What is something that makes you think? Exactly. I totally agree with you. And I think that one thing that they have been doing, as you said, is tampering with our DNA, altering humankind to keep us, if dumbed down, if not unable to progress evolutionary wise, like living our life out healthily, healthy, healthily, healthy in a way that would prolong death. I mean, we know from ancient texts that people lived for hundreds of years, thousands. Humankind has been manipulated, and over the course of what they call every 5,000, every 10,000 years. Elko says some of us have what Cassidy calls the rebel gene. Yeah, our DNA just fights it. It something carries through our bloodline, and fights these systems in place that are eradicating humankind, the population, altering it, changing it, manipulating it to fit what it wants, getting people sick, getting people to age faster, keeping us from progressing mentally and physically the way our ancestors did. Why? Because if they can control and keep the power for themselves, we just depend on them for what they give out to us. We don't know anything about this stuff, so we don't think about it. Go to work, do your work, become a slave to the system, get out, go home, get up, and do it again. 65 years, and maybe you'll be alive to enjoy life that you have now. We live every day. Why should we not be waiting on people to tell us that we can enjoy it? Because they made us dependent on them. We pay for our electricity. We have bills. We have debts. You don't pay your shit, go to jail. You don't do the things you get, you can go to jail. Keeping the slaves in check. Keeping us where they want us. And that's really what it is. If you think about it, if right. I mean, a lot of people if we wanted to be free, yes, we could be free. We could just say, screw it. But look at what happened to Ruby Ridge. People just wanted to live on their own, or colonies of people that just want to have a community where they can grow their own food, not have to live on the grid, be off it, do their own thing. How many times have they been shut down? Keep what you're doing and get your butt back to work. Part of what we are telling you have to be. You're going to get punished for it. You have to be within the ramification, or you will receive ramifications if you step outside of the box that they've created for us. There is so much that has kept us enslaved. But there are things that we do not, as a human race, as human societies. Our ancestors were able to survive. That's the thing. You had people who were able to raise their own food, raise their own cattle, livestock, raise their own... Oh yeah, I totally agree with you. That is why I say, that we as a society and as humankind and as a species, we collectively raising our awareness, raising our vibrations to open up ourselves and say, okay, this is not who we were. Because it takes those people that have always known this, that have always felt something, that something was off, questioned everything. You had an inkling since you were a child that this just doesn't seem right. What's going on? This is off. there'd be more to this story. You questioned everything. Even as a little kid, I would sit there and question everything in Sunday school. Well, why this? How come that? Where did those people come from? Who was that? Everything. I would listen to stories of all of this stuff, and I would think, okay, this is not making what's going on with this, like, but it's just history in general all over the world. It makes you think, what else is going on that we have not been told, that has been just fabricated to keep us in line, to keep us hidden our potential, to keep us enslaved from to a system that is reaping and benefiting from keeping us in the dark, while we suffer and we die and we slave and we go to war and die and continue to be guinea pigs for medications and therapies and things that are not hurting us. It is hurting us. When we had our ancient ancestors who used the earth, who used remedies, who used things that were holistic and natural to heal, cure people, yes. Were there viruses that came out that were eradicating populations? Yes. You have things like, okay, well, penicillin. Was penicillin just created, or was it just lab created and taken over to just get what they wanted? I think so, because if you think around, it just wasn't around in the shape or the way we know it until people started depending on the source to get it. You had colonies like in Africa, even in North America. People would get sick, I'm sure. Ailments would arise, I'm sure. But it wasn't until the Europeans came and decimated these places with their filth. You had Moors, and you had these wealthy, rich, noble families that would try to help them and tell them, hey, you need to make waterways, you need to have fresh water, you need to not be fucking sleeping with the animals and sleeping in your barn. Like, wash your hands and take care of yourself, because you get things that are going to make you sick. They're the ones who helped bring the plague to an end, that were trying to help societies in Europe progress. Now, if these people are around, we know that they were. We know they were here in America because we see the evidence of it all over the place. There's pyramids here. There's structures here. There's power grids. There are astronomical alignments and structures that were hidden from us. But these people, it shouldn't be here. We know that they had connections to each other because we're seeing the Maya blue that is seen in Mexico on these temples is actually from Georgia. And there are structures there that have it in there. It's the Maya blue. They call it Maya blue because that's where they first seen it. But actually, derivative, it comes from the United States. So we know that these cultures were in America, what we call America now. Exactly. And this is what I'm saying. People get caught up on this thing of these Europeans being more technologically advanced than these tribes that were in South America, that were in Africa, that were in Asia. But we're seeing that these other cultures were actually, in fact, the ones who were passing on this knowledge and this information to the Europeans. They were already sailing around the world, passing on this information. They were already in contact with each other. It's a great book that I have. Where is it? I'm gonna have to find it. But it says before Columbus, where he talks about these African cultures that were already here. Christopher Columbus, inside of his dictionary, inside of his journal entry, when he came back, the tribes gave him a spear and said that these men came from across the ocean. These dark-skinned men came, these warriors, lived with them and mingled amongst them, married into their tribes. He said that they gave them the knowledge of this metal, of how to harness this metal, this gold, and it was a golden spear. Now the golden spear was taken back to Spain, and the Spanish metallurgists, that the same gold that they found on that spear was in fact from Africa. So now you have evidence linking one continent to another by what? Sailing. So if they were master navigators, I mean, for Christ's sake, you have the Caribbean right there off of the coast of Africa. If they could follow the astronomical signs and read them and were master sailors, they found the Bahamas. They knew where going, and that's right off the coast of Florida. There you have the Seminoles going on up. So if in fact we are seeing that progression of what the Europeans are saying was the first contact with a outside tribe, because they never fucking sailed anywhere. You had Vikings who were master sailors, but where did they get their information from? The Phoenicians? Because we know that the Vikings were master sailors. But there were other cultures and other civilizations that were way ahead of them. There is so much that we are seeing that links Tartarian Empire to these advancements that are coming out in little waves of information that they are giving us by leaking it out slowly. But there is nothing that has not been done, or nothing new now that has not already been. And we see it in a lot of the buildings. We see it in a lot of the artifacts. We see it in archaeological findings. They just can't understand how these anomalies are present when they should not be there. Yeah, and you see a lot of symbolism in the artwork in North American tribes. Some symbols have been linked to Phoenician culture. Outstanding. But as I said, it's that what we see as societies and the education that we get. We only know of what we have been told because the victors have rewritten history. And once you can rewrite history, people are not going to know what happened. They are just going to go off of what you are saying and what has been told to us by these oligarchs who have taken over the education system, taken over the workforce, taken over our liberties of farming and culture. Totally just shifted everything to command and control. But it is amazing to see that this enlightenment and this information is being brought to light and is being shed over thousands of phones through apps, videos, link sharing, and it will look at it and it makes them think and it makes them question stuff once they start looking at it and it makes sense to them when the pieces start fitting together. And it's really awesome because you think about a lot of stuff that like I said, that we've been told to find out what if everything we knew was a lie? Everything. Think about that. That's the mind blower right there. What if the reality of what we have known, grown up on, doesn't even touch on what the reality is? You know what I mean? And that in of itself, to me, is amazing. I think it's cool. I think it's one of those things where when you look into it and you see it, and you start questioning it, it's amazing, because it puts into place everything we when you start looking at things from all over the globe or the plane of existence that we're on. Start saying, okay, this is starting to make sense now. Right, and that's what I mean. It's a trip, man, because you start looking into it, and it's like they're making out our ancestors and cultures around the world to be these primitive beings who were just dumb, living in huts and shacks, when in fact these people were far beyond the Europeans. And what if structures were here that were this is the way I look at it, because like I said, in that book where he talks about it, before Christopher Columbus, where is that book? Here it is. There you go. The African Presence in Ancient America. Ivan Van Sertima, professor. He talks about this, and I think what it is that you see the fact of these African tribes or these cultures, that Phoenicians that have come across the ocean, made it to the continent, and were mingling and living here, and possibly had structures and advanced technological civilizations that were here, that were mingling with other cultures that were coming here as an epicenter of wealth, because we know that gold was here, vast amounts of it. And the Europeans coming and making it to the shores, and they were like, oh fuck, we hit the gold mine here, now we know where we're at, we're going back and we're bringing everybody. What I think is that they came here and there was a war that happened. They started decimating people. They started enslaving people. I think a lot of the people that were made into slaves didn't hear. I think that they were already here. I mean, the evidence is vast. You see the cultures talking about these tribes, these skinned natives that were here, these tribes, these civilizations that were here in America, the America that we know of. and how they were already here when the Europeans came. I think it was a prisoner of war type thing where they just started decimating these people, enslaved them, made them their slaves to do what the work that they weren't going to do by wiping out the culture that was already here. Think about it. Wipe out the cultures, and they will not remember in future generations what happened, because they're not going to know. Which is why you see those pictures of these native children not being able to know their history and having to be whitewashed, European washed, brainwashed, thinking the way they did. This is our God. You got to pray to him and do things about him. If you say one more thing about the Great Spirit, we're going to shit out of you. Say it again. Speak your native tongue. As a child, that had to be, to watch people get beaten so bad that they were dying. I'm telling you, the eradication of these people was a genocide. And it wasn't just here, it was all over the world they were sweeping through. You had the Inquisition that erased and eradicated all this ancient knowledge that was heresy, metallurgy, magic, spellbinding, the thought process of speaking things into existence with words. All this knowledge and this information just gone, wiped out. Civilizations wiped out, eradicated. Great resets that have happened over time, generations. Every so often you see it happening. And it makes you think the bigger picture of it is they were trying to control and command over everything, the information, the history. And that's why I'm glad that a lot of people who question this stuff, a lot of people who look into these things, and a lot of people who are to the fact that, yes, there has got to have been something that was going on or has happened in the past that we are being lied to about. I mean, for Christ's sake, they're coming up with these ancient ruins in Florida when they were doing excavations and engineering stuff to redo the city works. All right, Elko Ellie, I see you later. Thank you so much. Have a good, safe night. I'll talk to you later. Thank you. It's one of those things where it's like they're finding this stuff here in America. I mean, you can't deny it. And they're talking about it being 10 to 14,000 years old. Possibly even older. That's the cool thing. I don't know about you, but I just think that that's amazing to me. That we are literally really seeing the evidence of what we thought was a lie. Hold on, I'm trying to get to my Facebook page so I can see it. Okay. I don't know, man. I'm just glad that there's a lot of us out here that are questioning everything. looking into things deeper. And if you are like me and you go down this information of, knowledge of information, and you start researching it and you start looking into it and you start questioning stuff, and you're like, this is not making sense. This is not what I felt is working here. you know then you are a part of the few who are waking up to the true nature of reality, questioning everything. Yes, I'm not telling people that, to piss off everything and just, do what you got to do, but when you are awake to the reality of what's going on, you don't see everything the same way as you used to do. And things are different and things happen, and it either makes you or breaks you. But the awakening of one's mind to the distortion that has kept us hidden for so long. How's it going? Many blessings, man. I'm glad you're here. Cool. Everything in the world that we, from a spiritual point of view, from a higher elevated point of view of looking at things, of the progression of who we are as a society and who we are as human beings, I think that we are coming of age to where people are actually realizing that there is more to the story than what we've been told. And us as humans and as human society, we tend to think that we have to rely on the safety net of comfort in knowing what we've been told is the truth. That there are things that are instilled in us at a young age. And I believe that it is programming, and a lot of people are breaking free of this programming. It is becoming something that is going the way of extinction, because people are saying this just has not felt right. And this elevation of consciousness and humanity, I think is it's really cool to be able to be alive now, to be able to experience it. And especially for a lot of us who have experienced life in different aspects of seeing things, seeing other cultures, talking to other cultures and other native tribes and around the world, and being able to speak to them and see it firsthand, and saying, okay, now I'm starting to see the bigger picture here. This is just too much of a coincidence that we've been told that these people were bad, or these people were just hut dwellers. These civilizations were just not advanced as much as these civilizations, when in fact it's total opposite. And being told things spiritually about who we are and why we're here, and the elevation of being able to progress humanity, and them shutting it down by implementing things that were just hiding everything. If you talk about this, you're going to hell. That is not the way things work. You either follow along or you go at the stake. No, this is not the way things were technologically advancing. It started at this time, when we are seeing that it happened thousands of years ago. Learning now that humankind was around far longer than what we have been told, because of the things that they are finding in places that they did not look in the earth. We tend to think that this plane of existence that we're on is it. But they are finding structures that are thousands and thousands of miles deep into the earth. We haven't even explored we haven't even explored 9% of our oceans. We've only explored 10%. We haven't even explored the amounts of uncharted territory. Do I think that's true? I think they have. I think that there are things that they have found that they keep hidden from us. And, whistleblowers have brought that up numerous times. There's so much things that we have knowledge of that we keep hidden from the public because people are not ready for it. Do I believe that? To an extent. But I think that's why they release things in movies and books and information gradually throughout time, so that way we're not being, it's like a de-shocking of the mind. Release it to them and let them see it for a little bit, and then they can figure it out for themselves. Because it's like, now we have this whole thing where, oh man, you see all these movies about space, or you see these, this whole thing about zombie viruses, and you see this whole thing about these ancient civilizations and cultures and these gods from space, and just so much stuff. Is it just a representation of what is being hidden from us to gradually make care of what is really out there? I think that being detached from the norm and going along with the crowds and just always having that feeling that something was different, and questioning everything ever since I was a little kid, asking my parents about stuff, or reading, into things. I remember going to the library and just looking up things on ancient civilizations. History has always intrigued me, which is why I'm glad I'm teaching history now, and something that I'm passionate about, and teaching our younger generation the importance of who we are and where we come from and the civilizations that have progressed humanity. But I'm barely teaching on the tip of anything, and that's really cool to think that someday our future generations hopefully will be able to know more than what we know now, and they will progress a lot faster and a lot more technologically advanced, with the freedom to be free instead of being ruled or governed by us. But yeah, what are your guys' thoughts? What do you think? Go ahead and link up on the comment section. Leave a message on YouTube or the Facebook channel page. We are on X. We are on TikTok. We're on Facebook and YouTube. I've been going through some stuff, trying to get some things done, but I am going to start trying to download the episodes so I can put them on Spotify for the Spotify channel, and be able to put them on for the podcast on Spotify, so that way people can listen to it. It takes a lot to do something like that, and I think that's something I'm going to have to set up a whole thing when I get a chance to, and I'm able to break it down and throw those episodes onto the Spotify channel to make that happen. But yeah, I appreciate everybody for coming along. Thank you all for being here and watching the episode. It means a lot. I hope it was a fun ride for you guys. Ivan, thank you. Alcoeli, thank you. Appreciate King Katura, thank you, man. Watching on YouTube. And Scub rats. Thank you. Appreciate you. Thank you guys for tuning in, and we're gonna have to do this again. Like I said, I usually do this on Fridays, but I've been so busy and getting some stuff that's needing to be taken care of. And on Fridays, I will definitely be here this Friday. We'll have to do this again, and hopefully you guys will join some topic ideas that you guys would like to talk about, or you guys are interested in, that you all want to share and put your input in on. Because like I said, if we band together and the information that we talk about and we put out there, it gets people to question, and it gets them to think about things. It puts it out there for people to see. And that is the important thing. That is what matters, because you want to be able to let people make and decide on their own. They're ready to break free from this matrix, or if they are just going to continue to be a slave to it because they don't want to change. You can't make people change their ideas. It is only the people that are willing to say, I am going to change my thought. Whoa. But, I appreciate everybody being here. Our second year this December on the 23rd. We will be celebrating 2 years, and I appreciate everybody who's been along on this ride. I appreciate everybody for the support and everything that you guys have done to, put it out about the podcast. Thank you guys so much. Subscribe to the channel. Go to Facebook. Get on there. It's Seeker of the Unknown. Go to YouTube. Subscribe to the channel, Seeker of the Unknown. Put the word out there. I mean, if you've got friends that you guys talk to, and everybody, you guys get together. I mean, I have members that invite friends over and they're watching it on Friday nights, and it's like, thank you. I appreciate that. What the heck? Thank you guys. I, off for a little bit, just dealing with a lot of stuff, and hopefully I'll be able to get back on here and hit it up every week like I used to on every Friday at 7 o'clock. You have a good one too, man. I hope to see you on our Friday. And like I said, just put the word out. You guys share it. Subscribe to the channels, TikTok, X, Facebook, YouTube. And thank you again for being here. I appreciate you all so much. You guys have a great, great night. Have a safe week. And remember, question everything. Everything that we know is not, everything that we've been told is not what is the truth. Question everything. Keep seeking the information. Because once you become informed and once you know, you become more powerful than what they're allowing us to be. And they don't want that. Have the information. Get the knowledge out. I'll see you guys on Friday, 7 o'clock. Have a good one.